Hi, this is Swanö from Edge of Sanity, and I'm here today to talk to you about Black Tears from the Purgatory Afterglow album. It was recorded in 1994 and re-released now again in 2024. So I honestly don't really remember that much about Black Tears, other than the kind of vibe that I wanted, because we had dabbled a little bit with gothic rock on the Spectral Sorrows with the song Sacrificed, but I felt also that the band had somehow became a little bit more hardcore punk. There's been this element with Feeding the Charlatan song, and there were also a couple of the new songs that we were working on. They had more of that kind of vibe, because at least me and Andreas, the other writer, we were pretty much into kind of grunge and a little bit this kind of hardcore punk vibe. And I wanted to somehow combine this, that I wrote this melody, which is the riff, on an acoustic guitar, and it was kind of with the quest of writing something similar to something from The Mission. And also Sisters of Mercy, of course. And I felt that these guys always managed to write really cool guitar riffs with as many open strings as possible. Just using a standard tuning and then just pushing a little bit every now and then, but as many ringing open strings as possible would be used to give it that kind of almost like a piano vibe. And that's what I wrote. And I later on discovered that the way that our guitar player Sami played it with full-on distortion, it sounded a little bit messy, but I mean, not even I could play it as clean as I thought it could be played. And while I wrote the riffs on an acoustic, of course without distortion, that was, it was a bit of a surprise that it ended up being quite a mess. And I must say that every band that ever attempted to make a cover version of it, first of all, thank you, that's super cool, but none of you played the riff right. And even when we played with Nightingale, I showed the original setting. It's all happening on the 3 first frets of the guitar and lots of open strings. But my brother said, no, I cannot play like that, that's weird. So he actually played it up the neck somehow, but yeah, the melody is right. But it also gives the riff more kind of a hard rock vibe, but my vibe was always that it should be a grungy goth song. And yes, it was one of the few Edge of Sanity songs with all clean vocals. And I think Black Tears is a super cool song, and it is definitely one of the cornerstones of the Purgatory Afterglow release. But it's also a little bit of a strange thing that this song is what everyone is raving about when it comes to this album, because it's filled to the brim with other really aggressive, brutal, death, almost black metal-ish songs, like Of Darksome Origin, you have Elegy, and yeah, but it was then somehow Edge of Sanity made it in this way that it was a little bit different, because we had death metal, but we also had other stuff, and it was all on the same release. Sometimes a little bit like some of the bands we grew up with, they would have songs of different character, maybe from different writers, maybe from a slightly different genre. They would have the rocker, they would have the ballad. And yeah, we were kind of going more for a kind of traditional format, that the album should not be so streamlined that we only do one style and that's all 10 songs. So yeah, and maybe that's one of the reasons why it's still one of our most successful releases. And yeah, an album that I'm really happy about in total, and also with Black Tears.